Hey everyone, welcome to Broadband Deployment News. The USDA has announced that they're releasing almost $760 million to 24 states, 2 US territories, and 1 foreign country. Be right back, we'll dig into that. Thanks for joining me. Rick Husey here with Broadband Deployment News. So I was going to let you know about this. This is a lot of money, and also dig into this a little bit because there is a foreign country in there, and some of the amounts I'm not quite understanding. So we see here Biden-Harris administration provides $759 million to bring high-speed internet access to communities across rural America. The Department of Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack today announced the department is providing $759 million to bring high-speed internet to people living and working across 24 states, Puerto Rico, Guam, and Palau. Not sure why Palau is in there. Today's investments include funding from President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law, which provides a historic $65 billion to expand reliable, affordable, high-speed internet to all communities across the U.S. So the IIJA actually appropriated additional money for the USDA Reconnect program. So some of that money that we're going to look at here is from the IIJA. I don't think all of it, because the amount that they're awarding today as far as grants is actually over the amount that I believe that was appropriated from the IIJA. So there's probably some amount of it that's from the IIJA, and actually that had some specific requirements where those areas needed to be at least 90% needed to be without broadband service, of reliable broadband service. So probably some of the funds are from that and some are just from the USDA money, I guess, when I was looking at the total. So we see here the I can't speak today, it's Friday. The $759 million in loans and grants comes from the third funding round of the Reconnect program. Here's a few examples they give. I'm going to go into a lot more of these, but we see here Access on Networks is receiving $17.5 million to connect thousands of people, 100 businesses and 76 farms and 22 educational facilities in Halifax and Warren counties in North Carolina. Techstar Communications is receiving $12.6 million to connect thousands of people, 171 farms, 103 businesses, and 1 educational facility to high-speed internet, and that's in Minnesota. And then in Colorado, the Eastern Slope Rural Telephone Association is receiving an $18.7 million grant to deploy fiber to the premises network connecting thousands of people, 898 farms, 110 businesses, and 17 educational facilities. USDA is making 79 awards, and they mentioned a bunch of states here, and I'll 49 awards, a bunch of states here, and I will go through and look at those. So not every one, but I have some things that I want to point out in this as we look at that. So the USDA Reconnect program is really meant for rural areas. There's certain categories for how rural an area is, and if it qualifies, then that money can be made available. See here in 2022, the department announced $1.6 billion from the third round of Reconnect funding. Some requirements here. To be eligible, must serve an area that does not have access to service of speeds at least 100 meg by 20. The applicant must also commit to building facilities capable of providing high-speed internet service with speeds of 100 meg to every location in its proposed service area. That's 100 symmetrical. So, and again, there are requirements as to the area being rural as well, not just whether or not it has internet. So anyway, there's a link in here where you can download the list, and it's a big list showing all of the states, who the recipient is as far as, let's say, the telephone company or whoever it is that's doing it, some information about it. And I am going to switch to, well, first of all, I'm going to switch to this so we can see better. There we go. Let's make it a little bigger. But also, I'm going to switch to my own spreadsheet because I took this, downloaded it, and I was curious as to, because it's not on here, so it shows you how much they get in either a loan or a grant. And with the Reconnect program, you can get either a loan, 100% loan, or you can get a 100% grant, or you can get a combination of the two, usually 50-50. I think might be able to get other combos, but I think 50-50 is what I've seen in this. There's certain things, if you're a tribal association, or if there's a certain amount of poverty or that kind of thing, then there's no match required. Otherwise, grants require a 25% match. I think a lot of these probably don't require any match at all, looking at what they are. So that's just something to be aware of. So again, I downloaded this and put it in a spreadsheet because I was curious because it was not on there. I added up the number of locations, and then I divided by that, the amount of money, to see how much it was per location. So I don't know if they're listing everything. I certainly hope not in some of these cases, because some of them make sense and some of them make no sense at all. So this is Alaska, and Alaska is obviously, it's got issues as far as topology, weather, permafrost, very few people. So there are issues with getting broadband to everybody there, but just the amount of money here. So if we look at this, it mentions 301 people, 17 businesses, and 3 schools, basically 3 educational facilities. So that's $30 million that's going towards that. So that winds up being 321 total locations. That's $94,465 per location. So I basically added up the locations here, consider the, the people, the businesses, and any farms or educational institutions being, each one being a location. So Alaska, 94,000, that's a lot, but then again, it's difficult in Alaska. There's probably long runs. It's very expensive to trench fiber, to bury fiber. If you're going to be boring, that kind of thing, especially again with permafrost and other things going on. So maybe that makes sense in Alaska. I don't know. Then you see some of these others. Here we've got Alabama, 4,896 locations, and it works out to about $5,000 per location. That's pretty normal. If you're looking at 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, somewhere in there, that's kind of a range when you're talking about these harder to reach areas for getting fiber somewhere. And I think everything I looked at was all fiber broadband. So you've got Alabama here. You've got, this one's kind of high, 106 locations. This is in Arkansas, and that's 15,000 here in Arkansas. Also, you've got 1,132 locations, 14,000. So that's a little bit high. That seemed high to me. Then you've got this one, Arizona, 4,800 locations, and it's only $1,485 per location. You can see here 5,600. That seems pretty normal. Now this is where it's a little crazy here. This is California. So they're going to be connecting 321 people, 7 farms, 6 businesses, and 3 public schools. So there are farms in there, but once you get the fiber there, it's just a matter. Farm I see is maybe 1 location. So $52,293 per location there in California. This is Guam, so this is a U.S. territory used to deploy fiber to the premises network to connect 2 people. So they're getting $29 million, almost $30 million to connect 2 people. So 2 people, $14,800,000 being spent on that. Not sure what that's about. As I look at these numbers, I don't know if some areas, like Alaska, for example, in some areas this may be, not just last mile connection, which in Alaska could be way more than 1 mile. Could be middle mile networks, those kinds of things that are getting these areas connected. But again, when I see 2 people in Guam and we're spending $29 million there, I don't understand that. You can see some of these other numbers are more in line what you would expect, even at 7,000 on the higher side. If this is a very rural area, we're talking here about connecting 3,200 people, 248 farms, and 52 businesses for $7,000. So I'm not sure why you can connect that many people for $7,000 per location. And then in California, we're connecting far fewer and far fewer farms for $52,000 a location. I just find it hard to believe that the topography and distances and whatnot would be that much different, but I could be wrong. Like I said, I don't know for sure. So let me scroll down here a little bit. We've got a couple in Michigan. Michigan can be difficult. You got the Upper Peninsula, which is difficult getting broadband there. But these are some high numbers. We got 360 people, 52 farms, and 7 businesses in one area. They're getting almost $15 million there, so it's $35,000, over $35,000 per location. Here it's almost $20,000 per location in this area to connect up 1,625 people, 69 farms, and 40 businesses, and 2 educational facilities there. So again, you see the numbers varying here, 4,000, 10,000 on the higher end here, and some of these kind of in the middle range. Then we come to Western New Mexico Telephone. So they're connecting 678 people, 10 businesses, and a farm. That's 689 locations, and that's $50,000 per location. So again, that just seems really high. Now, I did a broadcast, I think it was yesterday, I was talking about a co-op. It's kind of a fiber co-op that some neighbors developed along with Next Level Networks that's doing all of the build out, but they could not get fiber. They were getting quotes from Comcast for $200,000 to get a line there. Turns out that when they were asking around and got with AT&T, it was more like 14,000 or 18,000 or something like that, and that was from a provider like an AT&T. They were able to wind up doing it with Next Level Internet, I think, for $50 a foot, something like that. So it was still costing the residents $10, $12, $15,000. So those were some really high cost areas. This was in Los Altos. Forget the last part, Los Altos in California, Los Altos Hills, yeah. And it was very hilly and mountainy. So, what Comcast's excuse was, and it's, it could be a valid reason, but for $208,000, I don't know, they were saying that the asphalt was a special kind of diamond asphalt that gets very compressed. That's normally used on highways, very expensive to cut through or to drill through. So, you hear those kinds of stories. You hear $50,000 quotes from Comcast and other people, but this is $50,000 per location for 689 locations. It just seems very, very high. Then we've got here Puerto Rico. So this is a U.S. territory to deploy fiber to the premises network to connect 7 public schools and a person. So seven schools and a person, $1 million per location. That seems very high to me. I'm sure, some of this, again, it could be, including middle mile network as well as just the last mile in Puerto Rico. But, a school, you're connecting the school one time. It's not like there's a lot more to do with that. Maybe having to do with how distributed or far apart these things are in the middle mile. I don't know. It just seems very high. I guess all I'm saying is I hope somebody at USDA is looking at this and going, okay, this is really what the cost is for these places. And then the one I did not understand, it seems that I passed, oh, here it is. I didn't highlight it in red. Probably was too shocking for me. So I was not sure why Palau, which is another country, it's not a U.S. territory. I don't think this is any different than any other country. I mean, we have an embassy there. They have an embassy here, but that's pretty common. So they are getting fiber to the premise network to connect 6 people and 3 educational facilities to high-speed internet in these places. So that is, they are getting $35 million. So for these 9 locations, that's $3.8 million per location. So we're sending $35 million to Palau. I really have no idea why we're doing that, why it's so expensive. Again, could be, as far as the expense, there could be a lot of middle mile stuff, but I'm not sure why we're sending it to Palau. So that was surprising. Anyway, it's good to see that some of this money is going to be increasing our broadband in this country and in some of our U.S. territories. Some of the numbers to me seem a little bit crazy. Maybe it's required on, on some of this middle mile stuff to be able to make this where, if you can connect somebody last mile, but if you don't have middle mile infrastructure to connect all of the different communities, that's not going to go anywhere, right? So you need to have the middle mile infrastructure. So maybe that's part of it. Again, I hope somebody at USDA is keeping track of that and looking at the numbers. I just did a quick look at it, and assuming that they're listing all the locations here, some of it did make sense. But anyway, I just wanted to present that, and you can decide for yourself. So I will link to the USDA press release, which includes a link to all the locations that they are going to be spending this money in, who's getting it, how much money it is, and then you can kind of figure out from the locations, look at that and see what you think as well. So thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. If this was helpful, if you'd give me a like on the video. If you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button. Click the bell to be notified when I'm live. And don't forget, we can help you if you have any broadband needs, whether that be getting broadband deployed or whether it be managing your network afterward, managed services, providing additional services to your customers. If you're already a broadband provider or getting in that business, if you want to provide voice service, if you want to provide an IPTV service, email, if you need help with technical support 24/7 or even just overflow, give us a call. You can see our phone number there or send us an email, check out our website, and you can learn all about it. Thanks a lot. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.